Hi guys, welcome to the video today. A lot of people often ask me, Tanner, what do you actually believe? We know that you often get into general leftist populism, but what do you actually believe? And upon reflecting, I have decided to write a bit about the issue. Here's what I wrote about, okay? Here's, I guess, the Tanner shell. Here's what the document is titled: Manifesto 2 Populist Boogaloo. So, sorry, don't mind that. It's just some video games being dumb. As you might have guessed, I consider myself a left-wing populist. Here we go. We are experiencing a crisis in which we have never seen before. No, not a pandemic, not climate, although it is intertwined, but a crisis on the soul of human nature. Humans have always been a collective spirit, and I do not mean this in a literal sense. I mean it in a figurative sense. Individually, we are weak, but when we unify and collectivize, that is when stuff gets done. For millennia, we have seen this collective nature at hand. Then about 2,000 years ago, something happened. This something I am referring to is the foundation of society. Class structures were established, essentially destroying this collective harmony. Throughout time, we have seen this individualistic virus inevitably take hold of our ways of life. At first, it was the pharaoh and the slave. The pharaohs were god kings. Nothing could be more individualistic than that. The hive mind treats you as a god walking among men. You could literally do whatever you wanted. This, of course, came to pass as soon people began to realize that a quote-unquote god does not walk among us. So the hegemony had to come up with another excuse. This one with the help of the Catholic Church. While not technically God, the rulers have been sent by God. This divine touch, if you will, this created a class structure known as feudalism, which isn't too different from our current system. Basically, you had kings. These kings were the untouchables. Under these kings were the nobility, the nobles, the dukes, the deans. And while they were basically as good as a king, there were a few things that they couldn't do, mostly involving the monarch of the time. Then under them were the serfs, the ones who work, the proletariat, if I may. These serfs were allowed to live on the king's land. Don't question why it's the king's land. And all they had to do was whatever the king wanted. No questions asked. Mostly, even if you looked at a king wrong, that could have gotten you killed. The nobles were excessively brutal towards these serfs, that to them they were property. They could be treated like property, and they often were. This lasted centuries, this feudalism, until a new class popped out of nowhere, a evolution, if you will. The merchant. The merchant was not quite noble, but not quite serf. They had money, but not a lot. Eventually, these merchants could potentially make money for themselves, and there is nothing inherently wrong with that. However, this system, when allowed to not have any regulation, creates a swath of problems. For example, in our current capitalist society, it is frowned upon if you want access to healthcare. Why would you want that? Just buy yourself some insurance, bro. The thing is, insurance companies rob you of all your money for a single visit. Did you know that most Americans don't even have $400 in their pockets? How can someone afford a $40,000 hospital bill when they can't afford lunch? They can't, and that's the point. The system does not allow for people to be treated like people. Instead, they are treated like a cog in a machine, a little bit in the thing that makes the watch go. Why have a collective fund for universal income when you can just get a job? Oh, you have a condition which won't let you work? Sucks to be you. Just get good, bro. Just work harder, you little scrub. This is unacceptable in literally any other circumstance except when discussing capitalism. Business is fine. Let me just say that. As long as a business does not interfere with the welfare of the people, and under a capitalist organization of production, that is unfortunately inevitable. Which is why there are many people calling for radical changes. It isn't because we're dumb libtards. It's because we see a system that isn't broken. This isn't a broken system. It's a system that is working as intended, one which treats the people who need assistance like dogs, like animals, like property. And we see this, and we want to change that. No person should be subjected to this mindfuckery that capitalism does to us. This system then enforces the idea that it is good because it is the system. No other system could ever replace capitalism, and that, my friend, is just wrong. Let's say, for the sake of it, that we had a system that allowed for more egalitarian modes of production. A system which allows people to receive health care and food, not because they want it, but because they need it, and it is a right to eat and have housing and health care. A system that housed people when other systems didn't. A system where you are equal no matter your race, gender, or any qualifiable factor. You are equal no matter what. Of course, the disenfranchised are going to want that. Anybody of logical and reasonable standing should want that. That system exists, and it's called socialism. Currently, Texas, as we speak, in 9/18 of 2021, is taking away civil liberties left and right, and you will hear people compare it to the Soviet Union. But it should be noted that the Soviet Union had abortion legalized before America, the UK, or any other first world nation. Let us say that for the sake of it, you don't want socialism. That's fine. Understandable. After all, it is a radical change that for the 0.0001%, that's wording. After all, it is a radical change for the 0.001%. For you, you would simply benefit. Your life would only get better. Finland has ended homelessness. How did they do it? Was it the murdering of the hobos? No. Was it the murder? Was it the jailing of them? Well, what was it? They built houses. Why? Well, because it's cheaper and more humane to do so. And also, it creates community, which is in general a good thing. Why hasn't America done this? I mean, we are the best of the best, right? We are the greatest nation to ever exist, allegedly. Not really. It's a lie. You've been lied to. Our treatment of non-white landowners, or even just non-white people, is regarded as some of the most inhumane treatment of people in this world. I need to emphasize that these people are people. They have feelings. They have brains. They are just like you and me. It is deplorable that we treat them in a way that is dehumanizing. We allow this system to create these issues, then arrest people based on their lack of success in the system that we created. How is this considered okay? And then after decades of disenfranchisement based off their race or religious or any other factor, we just say, well, just get good, bro. How is that considered acceptable? Well, My well-intended listener, I'm here to tell you that the system that allows this is unethical and must be reformed or abolished. It is the responsibility of the people of a nation to keep the government in check. If the government is not doing the bare minimum to maintain general welfare, then the people must act to secure a more perfect union. Thomas Jefferson proposed that our system would change roughly every 20 years. The tree of democracy must be fed with the blood of revolutions. This is unironically one of the good things, the one good thing that Jefferson has ever said. Jefferson was awful, and this is one of the good things that he said. What can people do to secure a society in which we are all treated with the dignity we deserve? I cannot tell you what to do, as that is against my mojo. But what I can say is organize. Certainly organize. Strength through unity is a saying that could never be more relevant now. Organizing is not just something that happens overnight. Get that thought out of your head. It takes time. You need to understand why you are organizing. What is your method of organization? How are you going to have meetings? Do you need to have meetings? Is it a work-based organization? Is this a community club? How will you have meetings? These are all things that through time will eventually become smoothed out. Once a solid organization is accomplished, the game isn't over yet, unfortunately. No, you've just begun the first level. Now, you must decide how you will act. Through this revolutionary tool called Praxis, you can spread your message through non-violent means. Perhaps a food drive. Maybe do some mutual aid. Give clothes to people. If there are people in need, help those people since the system is not helping them. You might be thinking, why do I want to help these people? And the answer is simple, because they are in need of assistance. They need help. And if you were in the same position as them, you would want help, right? You may not radicalize people through your mutual aid, through your helping of them, but certainly people will not think of you as some agent of Satan, which in the case of revolutionaries, historically speaking, is a good thing. The revolution will not be televised. You probably have heard this before, I assume. It means that the actions that are being taken to secure a better life for all will not be promoted in the media that the majority consumes. So understand that. Get that in your head. The capitalist hegemony will do whatever it takes to demonize us for our actions. So do not expect to align with the demon media. However, we can use the media as our ally, as culture is the backbone of the revolution. Make art. Live life as you see fit. And bring the revolution to the people in any way you can. The Cultural Revolution is a method that works. Those are tools used by some great people to spread the message of a better life that is possible. We are not doing this because we want fame or fortune. Get that out of your head as well. We're not doing this to become rich and famous. We're doing this because we want to make our lives better. Money and fame and fortune are tools used by the capitalist pigs to entrap you. We are doing this to secure a better life for everyone. Who deserves a better life? Everyone. It really is that simple. Workplace democracy is a human right. Healthcare that is affordable for everyone is a human right. Housing and food are human rights. Living is a human right. Every man a king. Every woman a queen. And every NB pal a ruler. These are not difficult things that can be accomplished. We just have to be willing to put forth effort and roll up our sleeves. These goals are our essence, our spirit. Without them, we are a huskless movement. Our movement is about empowering others, not bringing down others. Our allies are everybody, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic that makes us who we are. Our unique perspectives make us who we are, and why would we want to bring down anyone based on said things? This movement has gone by many names in the past, but honestly, these labels do not matter. What matters is our quest for progress. Progress is what makes humans so great. We, for the most part, thirst for that sweet, sweet progress. It is in the nature of all those innovators before us that we strive for what we do. One goal of our movement is to break down dogma. What is dogma exactly? Dogma is prescribed doctrine proclaimed as unquestionably true by a particular group. Prescribed doctrine proclaimed as unquestionably true by a particular group. Yes, I said that twice. Why does our movement want to destroy dogma? Well, that is because there is no such thing as an objective truth, especially in politics. Things are a bit more nuanced than that, you see. While this movement of ours is using populist rhetoric, do not mistake it for dogma. Very different things. Dogma is used by politicians to make hatred an unequivocal truth. They use bigotry to further their agenda, and it is the job of the intellectual and the leftist to squash the spread of any dogma. This is relatively easy. Just love thy neighbor and tell the truth. Time will tell whether our movement of equality and justice will prevail. But have faith, for as long as the people have a voice, then our fight will continue. As long as there is a working class, our fight will continue. As long as people are oppressed, our fight must continue. For as long as there is a hope for a better tomorrow, then that is reason enough for our fight to continue. That is what I believe. Does that make any sense?